Yeah, so with Part 108, which
Yep.
is going to allow BVLOS, we're going to see a lot of remote operations start to come about. Instead of having pilots out in the field, we'll be able to install dock drones and then fly them from a command center, have one pilot fly multiple drones across a system.
Welcome to Hangar X Studios, where former fighter pilot and host John Ramstead takes us on a journey across aerospace as it enters an historic period of innovation and transformation. Our guests include aviation experts, pilots, financiers, military leaders, and innovators of all types. Buckle up for another episode of Hangar X.
Today's episode is brought to you by our platinum sponsor, XTI Aerospace. They are powering the vertical economy, building a long-range VTOL, and you can find more at xtiaerospace.com. Now, please remember to like, comment, and share on this channel, and enjoy today's podcast. Welcome to Hangar X Studios, and this is where investors and innovators and the leaders in what is becoming the vertical economy come to get the information they need to make big decisions and also learn about what's happening. And today we have an exciting podcast. We've all heard about drones, and it's frontline headlines anywhere, this UAS space. And imagine a place where drones are no longer a product or a service, but they're actually part of the infrastructure. It is radically changing how we do business in this country, not only in this country, but around the world. So we're bringing on today Jeremy Schneiderman. Jeremy, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You started Drone Nerds, which has now become one of the leading companies in the world that's right in the middle of this space, and you are at the forefront of what's not only changing, but helping you're educating your customers from industries to total verticals to even consumers on how to use this technology, tap into it. So we're going to have a great interview today, but a little bit of your background, because it was fun getting to know you last night at dinner too. CEO of Drone Nerds, you founded this in 2014 with a couple friends. One of your friends was actually running a frappe stand, right? No,
He was originally, he had just sold a fruit shake stand.
a fruit shake stand. But all of you guys are actually incredible entrepreneurs, and you already had a retail business in kind of the e-commerce space. But here's what this has grown into. Drone Nerds now, from an idea a few years ago, is doing $120 million of total revenue. You're one of the most names in the drone distribution business. And it's everything from public safety, agriculture, energy, construction, defense. And you guys offer hardware, operation, warranty service, education, consulting on how to solve some of the biggest problems. And also under your leadership and I think forward thinking, Drone Nerds has become one of DJI's most trusted and largest partners here in the U.S. And there's a lot of conversation about DJI and the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA. So we're going to cut through some of the noise and what's reality around that and what's it really mean and how it's affecting the whole drone industry. And then also you were just acquired by XTI, and I know that there's a lot of news around that. The reason why you and your team chose to do that and what that enables for the future of kind of the vision that you had, 11 years ago when you started that. So here's where I'd like to start. You started 11 years ago because drones were cool, right? And you're like, hey, let's focus this. This is a niche you thought 11 years ago was going to become a place that we can not only standardize on, but build a company around. And your gut was right. Now, so what is, you think, making drones a pillar of aerospace and aviation today?
Yeah, so what drones have done to get actionable data in the field has replaced traditional methods tenfold. More efficient, safer, better data at a much lower cost than traditional methods have done in the past. Did we see this come in 2013, 2014? Not exactly. We originally got into this as this is an amazing product. Back then it was for consumers. The first foray into kind of the enterprise space was a realtor saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to use this to help sell houses. We saw that. And then,
And they were just using commercial. They were just using retail drones for that.
Yep,
those kind of
retail
things,
drones with a great camera sensor. The reason why drones have literally taken off is just because of how easy they were to use. So any realtor with a little bit of training that we would provide, they'd be able to go out and get those shots that were unimaginable, a year prior.
Right.
Fast forward to today, what drones are used for today in the real world applications, we're saving lives. We're replacing traditional methods of tower inspections. In agriculture, we're increasing crop yields significantly by using drone technology. And those are just a few of the examples of how we've really changed business systems today, leveraging drone technology.
So where did you first see, like, you know what, this is going in a direction where this is truly going to be a pillar of how we do business? Like, this is a whole new, this isn't just a interesting idea. This is going to become a standard.
I would say 2016 was that aha moment.
Okay.
Right. We were doing really well with consumer drones in the kind of the photo retail channel, in the hobby channel, and work with some major retailers. But in 2016, we started having police officers come into our retail store and started to use this technology for search and rescue, to use it for Overwatch. And it was really at that point we said, you know what? There's probably a lot of other applications where drones can really change business systems.
Yeah, and and that said, you started Drone Nerds long before companies realized that drones would completely change their operations and how they went to market and how they serve their customers. So tell us about the whole origin story, about what has become this juggernaut.
Yeah, so Drone Nerds originally, my background is in consumer electronic distribution. My business partners were both in that space. We started out Drone Nerds as a straight distribution play for consumer drones. Very early on, saw the need for service and repairs, opened up our service center early in 2014, helping customers not only purchase the drones, but keep them operational. 2016, early 2017, really started to seed some enterprise programs across different types of verticals where we thought, drones will do good and change how they're doing their business. 2016 through 2018 kind of doubled down and got really active in different verticals that were not using drones: agriculture, construction, public safety, and a few others, and started to introduce this technology. We had, give you one of our big success stories is a large insurance provider. 2016, we started with drone number one, showed them how they can do roof inspections using this drone technology. Today, they've purchased over 2,000 drones. They have like 500 different.
So instead of the guy going up on my roof after a hailstorm, because I called USAA, that's mine, right? And walking around and doing a physical inspection, now that can be done with a drone?
Absolutely.
So that's got to be a fraction of the time and safer, because nobody's going up and down on a ladder.
Correct. And it's a better user experience because a lot of times that inspector, most insurance companies outsource that inspection. That inspector would go to the house, measure the roof, the pitch of the roof. If it was over a certain degree, they could not do that inspection. So for household owner, they're waiting for their inspection to be done. Now they're getting a delay. With drones, almost 85% of the job sites can be covered with a drone. There's areas where, there might be tree cover or they're in restricted airspace. So 85% can now be done with drones, and almost, a quarter of the time that it would take traditionally.
And with the same accuracy, like the drone can say, yeah, this is actual real hail damage that I'm going to cover or not?
With much more accuracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some consumers might like that, some might not.
Correct. The insurance providers love it.
They love it, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about that. So Drone Nerds, you're real with how you've grown. You're sitting at the center of agriculture, oil and gas, constructions, emergency services. There's a lot of areas that you guys have become experts in. So how would you describe the scale and the scope and the capabilities of Drone Nerds as it exists today? Yeah,
today, our goal is to be able to provide really complete outsourced program management for a large-scale drone program. So every service related to a drone program we provide today, from consultative approach in just talking to a customer who's never been, down the drone path. So we'll consult with them. Then we'll help them choose the right hardware, the right sensor, the right software to analyze that data. And then as they're scaling up and really, building out a fleet, we offer a layer of fleet management. On top of that, once they're operational and flying, they're going to need training. So we offer training services. We'll do train the trainer.
Is that pilot training, or is it how as a pilot or a department, how to employ the equipment?
Yeah, so it's a combination of both. So we'll go to any level.
Okay.
If it's just kind of train the train on flight operations, or if they really want to learn end-to-end workflow, we'll train that so that they can be ready, minute one, day one, they're operational. On top of the training, we'll provide the warranty service, repair services. We provide hot swap fleets. So, depending on the vertical, flight time or missing flights can be devastating. So specific agriculture, if they're doing spraying, using the drones for spraying, it's critical that they're spraying on a consistent basis. If they're not operational, they're going to miss a spray, yield could go down, it's devastating. We provide hot swap fleet. So they have an issue with their drone. We overnight a new drone. They send the other one back. We fix, repair it. We always make sure they're operational. We'll even go to another.
So is that part of a service contract?
That's part of our service contract. Yep.
I can sign up for that, and then I know I have
guaranteed uptime.
I'm going to have my guaranteed uptime.
Yep.
Okay, great.
And then we'll continue to nurture that customer with kind of a consultation approach to kind of keep them informed of best practices, emergent technology, how to refleet their drone fleet as years go on, really end to end. In a perfect scenario, they outsource the whole program management to us.
Well, that's the nice thing about, a company like Drone Nerds, because, you see what's working not only in certain verticals, but across different customers. And you can then take these best practices and then start, sharing that. Because you guys talk about some of you were telling me earlier, you really see a big part of your job is education. You guys take it very seriously. And what are some of those things you do to constantly keep people up to date with not only the latest information, but best practices and operational efficiencies?
Yeah, so we host a weekly webinar covering all different types of topics. We create ebooks. We have an Elevate UAV summit that we do once a year that's very different than a traditional trade expo. This is 2 days of, 25 speaking sessions across 3 different verticals. Then we're doing flight demos outside. We understand at this level of the drone space, education is important. There's, to your point, you've got some customers that are, a little bit further along the trail on their developing of their drone program, and then you have a similar type company that hasn't even started, right? So it's about getting them educated to understand what the true benefits of drones are, and the only way to do that is consistent educational nurturing.
Yeah, and what's you and the team as you talk, over the next year or two, what are some of those capabilities or that you want to bring into, that meet maybe some of the new demands or growing demands of the market?
Yeah, so with Part 108, which is going to allow BVLOS, we're going to see a lot of remote operations start to come about. Instead of having pilots out in the field, we'll be able to install dock drones, and then fly them from a command center, have one pilot fly multiple drones across a system.
So when you say dock drones, is that a drone in a box?
A drone in the box, yes.
So could you share a little bit, I hear a lot about drone in the box. Is that something that's growing? Is it getting more popular? Or is it going to take, the Part 108 to make these more, a better solution? Love your thoughts on that.
So drone in the box is definitely becoming more popular. If we
describe what it is if somebody's not familiar with it.
So a drone in the box, think of a docking station for a drone that charges it automatically. So drone goes, does its flight, lands in the dock closes. So
it's weatherproof, rain, whatever. Wind. I'm just sitting there waiting to be deployed.
Exactly.
Yep.
Big for security applications. A hot buzzword is DFR, drone as first responder. So public safety is using these quite a bit. Regulation.
We actually had a hospital on that actually has them for, it was part of the VA. Mm-hmm. And, some people, severe PTSD, they'll wander off. They're not safe to themselves or others. And then they can immediately launch the drones and know where the person is and track them and feed that information immediately to the, the police or the MPs. But the goal is keep the patient safe and bring him back where, we can be, helping him.
Absolutely. And the tools are
but
there.
It's instant. As soon as I realize he's gone, the drones are launched and all the feeds and the AI and everything's working together for the care of that person.
Correct. And
imagine that for like a first-person shooter, like around a school. That would even be ideal situation.
I see a world where every school has a dock on the roof, right? Unfortunately, we live in a world where those events happen, but if we can be that much quicker with our response, I think we could save additional lives in the future.
Yep.
So, docks today, we're still waiting for the FAA to get Part 108, which will allow BVLOS happen a lot easier. Today there's a lot more red tape to get a Part 135 license.
Yep.
The future looks like Part 108 is going to be here around the corner, and that will allow wide-scale use of drone in the box.
Yeah, I got some other questions about that. I'm going to definitely dig into that. But something you said before is, drones are being adopted more and more. To me, this is just my 2 cents, it almost feels like we're just at that front end of the adoption curve. Like we're just hitting that hockey stick point right now. Let me know what your thoughts, if you kind of feel the same way, and what is driving the adoption of drones and UAS at such a rapid pace now, even versus 6 or 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%. We're at that inflection point of a hockey stick growth. I think each vertical is having different levels of adoption. Mm-hmm. Public safety has been a little bit more mature. It was one of the earliest verticals that had, we'll call it wide scale adoption. But I still think the future looks like every officer will have a drone in their car, just like their other tools. Different verticals are adapting at different speeds. Each industry has different levels of red tape to get through and to prove it out. And that's why I think we're at different stages across these verticals. The technology works. The data and the AI that's being applied to what drones are capturing, it's proven successful. What's really amazing for us is any of our large drone programs, they've all continued to scale. We've never had a drone program that has said, hey, you know what? These drones aren't going to work for us.
So it really didn't work out. We're going to go back to the way we did it before. You've never seen that.
That's never going to we've never seen it, and I don't anticipate that happening. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, hey, we need to get more budget.
This is just gooder.
This is just gooder.
Okay.
Right. This is replacing, traditional ways of capturing data. Cell phone tower companies, a guy climbing the pole, risky, inefficient, only capturing some of the data. I can fly a drone and within 10 minutes have a 3D orthomosaic of that cell phone tower in minutes.
Well, and you talked about a drone that could be coming out that could allow you to wash windows.
Yep.
I'm thinking about apartment buildings and skyscrapers and office buildings that they do it once a year.
Yeah, so we've launched with a company out of Hungary, ABZ Innovation. It's a pressure wash, soft wash applicating drone. I think the next few years this is really going to shake up that industry. Gone will be the days that a guy's rappelling down the side of a building. Or coming down or installing scaffolding or bringing heavy machinery to be able to reach windows or facades to be able to clean it. We have tools today that are going to be able to replace that traditional method.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Now, I think our listeners are very familiar with drones, but maybe not the regulatory side. Mm-hmm. So could you talk about what Part 107 is? Yep. What that allows you to do, some of what it opens up, and maybe if there's any restrictions around that.
Yeah, so Part 107, I'll back up a step. In order to fly a drone commercially for any type of commercial application.
Which means you're getting paid for your service.
You're getting paid for your service or or that data is being used in a business application.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if I am a farmer and I'm going to go fly my a drone to capture, multispectral data on my crop, I need to have a Part 107. So even though he's not monetizing that exact flight, he's using it for his business. Okay. So any business application requires a Part 107 license. The Part 107 license, and I don't want to get too technical, but basically it's like your driver's license for your car. You have certain restrictions that are tied to that Part 107 around flying at night, flying over people. And then there's additional waivers that you need to request to be able to do kind of more advanced flights. But absolutely need to get a Part 107. It's your first step into having, a commercial business with a drone.
Do you guys do 107 training?
We do.
Okay. So you can go get your commercial license there.
Yep.
And then if I was interested, let's just say I was an entrepreneur and I wanted to use drones to create my own business, I could come to you, get my training, understand some of the drones, have you guys help me out and create a business around using a small fleet to do something, whether it's window washing or ag or survey work, or is that fair?
Yeah, that's, we don't just sell the product. We take a consultative approach. We want to educate you or our customers so that they understand the capabilities. And part of that is if a guy that wants to get into a drone business, we're going to, walk along the journey with him to make sure that he has the right tools, understands the needs, understands the regulations so that he can be successful. Because ultimately, when he's successful, he's going to come back and we need to buy more drones. That's
pretty cool. I love that you guys are doing that, because not only are you entrepreneurs, but you're equipping entrepreneurs and you're also equipping enterprise. And but you've also talked about BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight. And today, to do those flights takes a lot of paperwork, getting waivers, flight corridors, coordination with air traffic control. Once Part 108, which is going to codify these BVLOS. Now, BVLOS has been adopted in other countries, from Brazil to Israel to Scotland, and it has changed societies. It has eliminated food deserts and medical care has improved. But what in the U.S., once this is passed, what does that, do you think, unlock or change here?
So it's going to unlock a lot of opportunity in many different verticals. So if we talk about oil and gas, today, if you want to fly over a pipeline or power lines, a person needs to go basically drive that entire line. What would be more efficient and what will come about with BVLOS is we can install a drone in the box every 4 or 5 miles, one from another, and from a command center, remotely fly those operations. No reason to have a person out, driving and flying. We're going to create a lot of efficiencies. To the example that we talked about, the schools, like if we have drone dock on every roof or in some type of security environment, if there's any type of breach, we can remotely fly those drones from anywhere in the world. And that is going to, each vertical has their own need for drone in the box, and beyond visual line of sight, drone delivery, medical supply delivery, search and rescue. There's a lot of, today we can only fly within visual line of sight, which is roughly 1.5 miles, depending on.
So when I'm thinking visual line of sight, so this is kind of expanding things. So if I have a drone in the box on top of a school, but I'm operating it, let's say, from a command center, which is either maybe the police station or maybe somebody who's contracted with public safety, but they're not there to see the drone. That's where I actually need that regulation, right?
Correct.
Because I'm not there on site visually operating it with my controller.
Correct.
Okay.
And as you can imagine, there's a lot of applications where it doesn't make sense for the pilot to be at that site. One pilot to many.
Or I can't get there quick enough. Or, well, like I'm just thinking the pipeline could be hundreds of miles long. Correct. And I want to inspect it. I don't know. How often do they inspect those? Monthly, quarterly, weekly?
Well, they're probably not doing it at the rate that they would like to do it, because today you have to have a person driving that line. So, it's economies of scale. If you have, 100 people driving it, the cost to do that is not, there's not positive ROI in that.
Right. Question. So I'm guessing a lot of different aircraft classes, let's say aircraft inside of drones, right? From small ones that, we might bought for our kids to the small DJI to these big giant ones. So help us understand, what are some of these different classes and what's some of the different maybe architecture differences between these?
Yeah, so we break up drones into 2 categories. Kind of the consumer class drones are, what you would find in a traditional retailer, in a Best Buy, Target. Great for the everyday person to go fly and get great pictures of their family vacation. Then we talk about the enterprise class, which are the more advanced ones that have, avoidance technology, longer flight time, really advanced sensors on the drones and different types of payloads. And then we go up from there. So then we have, we call them large frame, which are, can carry a heavier payload. We can carry big LiDAR sensors that are a couple pounds. We can put in, winches to be able to carry items. We have drones. There's drones out there today that can carry 250 pounds for delivery. So they range, and the size goes from, one that fits in the palm of my hand to, drones that are
the size
6
of
feet.
a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: DJI, right? Why are they so good? It seems like they've set the bar, and nobody's even come close to the bar. Is my impression. And you, as such a close partner with them from early on, I'd love your candid assessment of where they fit in the marketplace, and what are other companies doing to either try to catch up or even maybe surpass?
Reliability.
Okay.
So the reliability on a DJI drone is unmatched today. Also, all the capabilities, their radio and video communication, they can fly around any type of interference, and you're not going to lose the connection to the drone. That's kind of their secret sauce. It's called OcuSync, and they use that across all of their platforms.
So if I bought a typical U.S. manufactured drone, I was flying around a cell phone tower, because I've done this before, all of a sudden it just starts drifting that way because it lost connection.
So I wouldn't say it's all U.S. manufacturers, but a lot of the emerging brands that are trying to come to market.
A lot of non-DJI manufacturers. How's that?
That's fair. Yep, that's the biggest difficulty in their technology today, is they're having a reliant, stable connection between the controller and the drone at all times, regardless of the environment that you're flying in. That is where a lot of the emerging brands are missing.
Now, what's behind? Now, I know DJI is also facing some restrictions at the federal and state level. I know, like the government, the state of Florida won't buy a DJI drone. There's something called the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA. Could you talk about what that is and how it's affecting, how you see that affecting the whole landscape?
Yep. So we'll start with Florida, because Florida was kind of the first regulations that we saw, and it's in our backyard. So we're based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So in Florida, there's law that public safety and U.S. government, Florida government offices cannot use funding to buy Chinese drones. And then there's other requirements behind that. What we've been able to do is adapt, and we have a portfolio of products that are not Chinese to be able to serve that market. Unfortunately, the other solutions are a little bit more expensive, and the capabilities are a little bit less, and maybe the reliability isn't as reliable as DJI. But there are solutions that are out there today to solve the need that they need, that these enterprises need. The pending legislation with the NDAA is, which is due at the end of December, is a named agency was supposed to do a security audit. If that security audit is not performed, then they're automatically put on the list that could be potentially banned in the U.S.
You talked about, there's a performance gap. Are there other manufacturers you think are closing that gap, or I'm sure they're all working on it, but do you see any actual movement in that?
We definitely do. So what's really unique with DJI is their portfolio of products is so expansive. So they have drones from $499 consumer drone to their most advanced agriculture drone, $25,000 solution. Where there are competitors today in the market, there's nobody else that has such a vast portfolio. What we're seeing is really good products by other manufacturers that compete with certain segments of DJI's drones today. In the heavy lift drone, we have a portfolio of competing manufacturers that provide an amazing alternative to DJI. For the small compact, there's a little less options that are on the market today. Do I think that competition will get there? I think competition drives innovation, and we will get there. So, I think the future looks bright for any type of solution that a customer would need. The demand for drones isn't going away. Yeah,
no, I agree. And as you have scaled and hit some significant milestones, right? You could have done anything in this whole next chapter of Drone Nerds, but you chose to partner with XTI. What led for you personally? What led to that decision, and what does it do for your vision and the company?
Yeah, so we've been at the forefront of this industry since 2014. They call us the dinosaurs in the industry. We've had a vision of really where we wanted to take Drone Nerds long term. And my goal and our team's goal is to be that household name. When somebody is looking for any type of enterprise drone solution, we want to be the standard company. And we knew it would take a partner to get us to that next level. There's strategic investments that we've wanted to do. There's acquisitions that we've wanted to do of some great, other competing companies that are out there. And to be able to execute that vision, we knew we needed a partner. And partnering with XTI gives us the ability to execute on our vision.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah. So if you're kind of looking at, some of those partners come to fruition, some of those acquisitions come in to Drone Nerds. If you're looking, let's just say you and I are sitting here a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
What would you love to be sharing 12 months out?
I'd love to be sharing 3 or 4 acquisitions that we know make a lot of sense a year from now. I think it would boost. There's areas that we do well that we could do a lot better with some strategic acquisitions.
Okay.
That's kind of our goal, where we want to be a year from now. And also just amplifying what we do today with the capital and the partnership that we have with the XTI. It allows us to really double down on the things that we do right.
Yeah.
And really be able to take more of the market share that's out there today.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we need to have you back on, Jeremy. And the other thing too is Drone Nerds, you have some incredible strategic partners. The manufacturers, the people in the industry that are subject matter experts on solving, real world industrial problems, and then not only doing it well, but also doing it profitably.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to have a series where you're coming on, inviting people in your sphere of influence and your relationships, and come on and let's talk about some of these things, because like you said, that inflection point, the hockey stick is starting.
Yeah.
So let's bring on some of those key people. How's that sound? Let's do
absolutely.
some together.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be great. And so stand by, everybody out there, who's part of this. We're going to be doing a series because drones are accelerating, and now with what you're doing, we have a front row seat. So with that said, just what final thoughts do you have that you'd like to leave with everybody kind of listening about?
I would say if you're evaluating using drones in your business systems today, start tomorrow. They will make things much more efficient. Call us. We have, like I said earlier in the conversation, we're here to help. And we understand we're at the early stage of this, so knowledge isn't readily available across all of the different verticals that we play in. Give us a call today. Let us talk to you how drones can make your program either start or become better, and ultimately become more efficient.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Keep knocking them alive out there. And guys, remember to like, follow, and subscribe Hangar X Studios, and we will talk to you soon.